to Couch Time. Today we have Virtue by Design. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nye. I'm a single mom of two. I'm a cybersecurity professional, and I'm an advocate for single mothers.
I'm Renee, and I am a DBU major for communications. I'm an advocacy for blended families.
Hi, I'm Rita. I am a project management professional. I'm a mother of 5, and I am an advocate for married couples as well as parents with special needs children.
My name is Ladidra Wilkerson. I'm married 10 years. I am an advocate for married and blended families.
I'm L.A. Parker. I am the mother of a single mother of 4, and I'm an advocate of behavioral health. So welcome to Couch Time. So, we have been having some dialogue about a lot of different topics that affect us as the African American community, as well as topics that just affect us as in humanity overall. And so today we're going to address some of those topics, and one of them is actually about communication. We are here in order to communicate with you guys and show you how to communicate effectively. Effective communication is, by definition, when the person who you're trying to communicate with, the receiver, receives the message in the manner that you have intended. So that is the reason that you will have some people do this trial, this example of when I tell one person something, I tell Rita something, and then when it gets to D, it's a little varied. And then when it gets to Nye, it's a different version. And by the time it gets to Renee, it's a completely different version, because the effective communication is not there. The receiver is not getting the message in the manner that it was intended. And that affects us in our relationships, in our careers, even with our children. Effective communication impacts us on a day-to-day. What you guys say, how do you feel, what do you feel that communication, the break of communication, has impacted your life in one way or another?
Well, I think it just depends in which area of your life it affects you. To me, I think the biggest flaw as far as communication is in the marriage. To me, women are different, men are different, and men have different way of communicating. They're so used to talking to their homeboys, and women, we like for things, we drag on about something instead of just being so direct and straightforward. And men like directness and straightforwardness, and we're designed to communicate. Men are not. So to me, in marriages, it creates a problem because of the communication level as far as men. And then you have some women that are the same way. But I think that's where effective communication come in at, where you, in your marriages, I think you'll have more successful marriages if you have effective communication.
Just to piggyback on what you're saying, I think, for me in marriage, my husband always says that I have so many words. I say I have so many more words than he has. So he's like, Lord, please let Rita use all of her words before I get home. So I have to be mindful of that when I talk to him,
Yes.
because I want to give him the full story. And he's like, can you just get to the point?
Yeah. Yes.
So I have to be mindful of that so that I don't lose him in the conversation, and just give him what he needs versus me giving him the whole backstory from A to Z and coming back again, and I want to give you a little extra and I got to break this down. I really don't need to do that, because that's not what he needs.
Well, they definitely don't like the fluff.
Right.
They're very factual creatures, and they just want the end. They don't want to know how you got there. They just want the bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that that's where we kind of the break in the relationships are, because we have to realize we are two different creatures, and the way we communicate is totally different. They wouldn't say that they have a problem with communication.
Of course they won't.
But in actuality, and we would say that they do, and they would say that we have a problem with communication. But all at the end of the day, I think that it is that we just communicate differently. I don't know if anyone have read the book about the love languages.
Right.
And that kind of shows you there that, you know, a man could not verbally say I love you, but it is implied, especially with the older generation. You know, if I bring home the bacon, if I pay the bills, you know, if I do X, Y, and Z, that is telling you that I love you.
Right.
But with women, our level of communication say, no, I need you to say it. I need you to say it, and I need some roses every now and then. I need a
Right. It doesn't have to be as physical.
Yes. So it's just they're saying that I am communicating with her, and we're saying, well, no, you're not. So I think that there has to be a middle ground.
The delivery.
The delivery, and those are conversations that we don't have in the courtship phases. How do we? Okay, you communicate like this, I communicate like this, but what is that middle ground that we can come to and say, you know, this is where we meet at? I had a conversation with a friend last night, and he stated that, well, after you get married and you already know everything about her, so why does she need to have lengthy conversations? Why do she need to talk?
People are ever evolving. They change.
Exactly, and that was my response. I said, because if you don't consistently communicate with her,
Right.
talk to her, when she is changing, that's how people starts growing apart. Because at first you like asparagus and you hated green beans, and now 3 years down the road you're saying, well, I love green beans.
Right.
And I hate asparagus. It's because you're changing. The things that you like when you were in your 20s, you may not like in your 30s, and so forth and so on. So you have to stay connected with that person by communicating.
Yes.
And so I think that it's hard for us because we as communicators, especially once we're comfortable in relationships, we're begging for the communication, and they say, oh, we've done that. Been there, done that. You don't need to talk no more.
I listened to a sermon that T.D. Jakes said, and he said that women speak in feeling and men speak in facts. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of true, but I feel like if I'm telling you something in regards to my feelings, that's facts as well. So I kind of find it, for me, it's always best to do, like, I try to do checkups. And when I say checkups, I'll say, well, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we just had this conversation. How did you perceive it? Because in communication, it's all about that person's perception of what you just said as well. And it's also their perception of you as well. You know, how they feel about you in regards. So I'll try to ask him, like, you know, do you get what I'm saying? How do you feel about it? Or what did you take from it? And I can't say that I get a bunch of, oh, there he is, expressive words. No. He'll say most of the time, I understand, and do something directly different from what we just discussed.
Right.
So
Right.
I really think, you know, it definitely does hinder us. I feel like we could build better if you were able to communicate better, because a lot of times men won't say things to us because they're scared of the response, and you're thinking like,
Yeah.
you're the man,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
are you
Yeah.
scared? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
they won't tell you if their job's in jeopardy
Yes.
or if these things like this are happening to them because of their fear of, I guess, really, I feel like a lot of times they want to make us happy as opposed to make us sad. So in regards to being able to communicate with us, they're kind of scared that we'll be upset or we might start talking too much about it, you know. So it's just really hard.
And even if that is even if that is how they feel, if they are skeptical about having that dialogue, or they don't know how she's going to take him losing his job, you said that their perception may not even be what it is,
Right.
but the perception is their reality. So since it's their reality, that's what they go by. This is real to them, you know.
And I
But
think
that
you
goes
have to.
back-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But that goes back to what Maisha said, what Nai said, your deliverance. How are you conveying what you feel to them? Because you can't talk to a man like you talk to your homegirl. You can't. They're not gonna understand that language. We can be on the phone for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. They don't have that kind of time.
patience.
Yeah,
They don't have that kind of
They
patience.
don't have that type of, yes, they're understanding within the first couple of seconds. If it's something that you nagging them, they've already blocked you out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, I just think the deliverance should be something as if maybe either you're talking to, like being like a homeboy to them, or you're letting them know, hey, honey, I love you, but it's something I really talk to you about, or something. It has to be conveyed in a different form other than the way that we talk to our girlfriends. And
Almost
that's
like
just
a coddle.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
really
That's
it.
the only way
You
they
either
really
come
take
to
it.
them in a way that you talk like they talk to their homeboys on a regular basis, or you have to come to them in a way to where it's not demeaning, or you're not beating around the bush within the first 10 seconds. Direct, but yet at the same time kind of pacifying the men at the same time.
But you know, women really, I don't think that a lot of women know how to communicate effectively. I took a class, and when I took this class, I came home and I tried the things that it said about how to communicate effectively. It stated about the setting, your tone, the content of the dialogue. And so I tried. I went home that day, and I waited. I didn't bombard him when he first came in.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of test the waters to see what the mood was. I waited for a time that was more that was more appropriate to have whatever that particular conversation. And then I cut out the fat meat. I cut out the fluff, you know, and it actually worked. You know, it actually worked when you be mindful of what or how you communicate with a person. And a lot of times you do have to repeat or ask them, do you understand what I'm saying? Can you repeat to me what I just said?
And I think you have to be careful with that.
I just you're dealing with an alpha male.
Yes, it just depends on the type of person that you're interacting with,
Yes.
and especially from a male's perspective. If I said, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" that can come across very demeaning. It can come across like, "Of course I understand what you're saying, but I go and do the opposite."
But
of what you just
which
said.
means you
So,
don't.
so you have to be careful, and you have to understand the person that you're communicating with. So even though you may have effective techniques, my technique with you may not work with her, and vice versa with my husband. I can talk to my son a certain kind of way, but I cannot talk to Bryant that way because of so many different things: his background, his personality, what he does, his day, his, family life before me. There's so many other things that you have to consider when I'm talking to this person versus this person versus this person, even in the right setting, even with the right words, and we said it really nice, it may not come across that way.
Yes.
But would you agree that there are certain elements of communication that do need to be consistent?
Yes.
Like when a person first, even with us, when we first come in the door, don't bombard me with all of this, all of that. You know
Yes. I agree.
Give me
Give me a minute.
Give me a minute.
Agreed.
This is Dallas. Traffic. I was in traffic for an hour and a half.
Yes.
Don't come at me talking about what we gonna eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that it's the same thing. Whether it's man or woman, you have to be mindful when you're communicating. Whatever that is for whatever person, you really do have to be mindful of how they're going to deliver, how they're going to receive it.
Yeah.
In our group, we have 2 married women, and we have 3 single women. We all are mothers, so the level of responsibility and things that we have is so on another level. When you have a spouse, your level of responsibility is different from when you don't have a spouse. When you in so many different ways, because when you don't have a spouse, you don't have that added assistance, you don't have that added ear. When you do have a spouse, you have that added assistance and you added ear, but you got some other factors. The other factors. So, you know, which brings us to the topic of the stressors that we experience as Black women, as women across the board, as just being women. Not negating that men don't have factors. We don't have the men on our panel today, but so we can only speak for a woman, you know. So those stressors, I think, that are not really accounted for. I don't think that society. There was an article. I don't know if you guys read that article that came out a week or so ago. That says that the African American woman, all of her the expectations on her has minimized her health, or it impacted her health. So basically, they're saying that African American women health is basically worse than maybe other women or other people because of the expectations that is held upon us.
So what do they mean by expectations? Because I think it's,
like being a provider or protector, things like roles that maybe we should more so have to really have.
Even in society, you know, in society, what corporate America expectations on the African American woman, and then as parents, and then as sisters, as mothers. I mean, there's so many hats that, you know, other cultures, not to negate to say that other cultures don't have their issues, but the dynamics of other cultures is completely different from African American culture. And so, you know, a woman that is from an Asian culture, she may just have to go to work, and her mom's at home cooking by the time she get there. And then when the husband comes home, mom had already cooked dinner, and all she has to do, you know, it's just there are different dynamics. So speaking about the African American experience, the article spoke how the African American woman experience causes her health to be diminished.
I can most definitely believe that. I can see, because like I always say that African American women have it the hardest. You know, because it's like we play those roles. We have to help bring home the bacon. We have to help cook the bacon. We have to say, okay, I'm going to use the bacon for breakfast, and I'm going to use a little ham for lunch. Then I'm going to use the pork chops, you know, for dinner. We have to save the grease for a science project. I mean, like, we have to use a little bit of grease maybe for like on our skin. Like we have it the hardest. Like we really, really do. And I think it sucks because we have the hardest like at home, like both in our personal lives and professional. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely. I definitely think that's the beauty in us, though.
It's great, but I think there's an expectation that you're supposed to do it seamlessly.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I had 3 nervous breakdowns by 12.
Exactly.
I mean, how dare you?
Yes.
Right.
What stress?
Yes.
Why would you be stressed?
Yeah, and we're not talking about like what comes along with that. Like you said, the nervous breakdowns. Like it's just so much that comes along with it. Like, yeah, we do it and we make it seem easy, but it's not, and it's not healthy. Right. You know, like what's the point of living to, I mean, like 90 years old if you're gonna like if half of your life was hell. She said, I mean, for me, like, what's the point? It's not healthy, and we make it seem so easy, and I think that's why society expectations is so high but it's not. Like, we need to stop it. Like, it's not easy. And then, like, you hear this group of women, like, I read sometimes, like, on social media, like, oh, I'm this superwoman. Like, you're not a superwoman.
Stop
That's
it.
a stupid woman. Like, just stop it. Like, it's time to just stop it because it's not. It's hard and
it's not healthy.
You have to be
it's
realistic.
not healthy.
We are not living to 90. You know, if the heart disease,
#1 killers for Black women.
You know,
yes, it is. It really is.
And then people wonder why we crazy.
Well,
They wonder, you know, and I don't advocate people who have challenging behavior when they choose to do things that, you know, but I understand.
For sure. And
you know.
And I'm so over the stigma, like, with Black women, like, she's an angry Black woman, she's bitter. You know, I hear a lot of men talking about their ex-wives. Oh, she's bitter. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, why is she bitter? You know, like, did you leave her to take care of like 4 kids by herself? Like, do you give her breaks? You know, do you help her take care of the kids? Like, why is she upset? You know, like, I mean, so maybe if you like sat in her shoes for like 5 minutes, you know, I don't think it's fair to call a person bitter or mad or the angry black woman if you don't know what
Their
her
circumstances.
yeah, the
Where it came from,
circumstances.
where it came from.
You know, so like, why is she bitter? You know, did she help you with this business and, you know, it got started and it's just like you guys had this like $1 million industry and all of a sudden like it went down because you decided to look at your intern? You know, you know, why is she mad? Why is she bitter? You know, so I just say start asking why.
But I don't think I don't think that most black women are just bitter. The difference is when we say it, then there's a problem because we said it. You know what I'm
We
saying?
just
That's
tuck our
the difference.
tail
And you should just keep going.
keep going.
Versus saying, you know what, that really hurt me. That bothered me, which is good communication. Just say it. It hurt. That bothered me, so that we can release that. That's a way for us to release. It's not about being angry or being bitter or any of that.
Right.
It's just a way for us to release
But that would make that person have to take responsibility,
Right.
and they don't want to do that.
Right.
Oh, since you feel a certain way, well, if you stress, well, you should have did it this way. You should have do it that. People don't want to take responsibility for your pain. And I think that's the problem with our family. It's not balanced. It's not balanced, and but I have to blame the black woman.
But you know,
I have to
honestly,
blame-
I
I
think
have to
that
blame us.
the angry black woman is something that they put on us, and I think the reason why we can say, well, yeah, she is a little bit mad is because we may know her personally and we are more familiar with other African American women. However, let's be very clear. White women are angry too. They sit at home, cuss out their significant others, cuss out their children. They have all types of different behaviors, but they have not been depicted as an angry white woman.
Right.
Hispanic women too. I have girlfriends whose mothers are white and call them all type of names. You'd be like, wait, she called you a what? Did Geneva help you? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's also something that they put on us. I feel like
Yes.
everybody's circumstances and everybody's life it
It's
relates
different.
from choices, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then it becomes how you choose to deal with the choices and the circumstances that you've been handled.
Right.
You know, you can deal with it with the positive behavior, like, you know, my glass is half full or it's half empty and I'm going to be mad all day. And I just prefer to be like, oh, let me have a glass of wine. It's okay.
I think you said something that was really key, though. You were saying that you have to blame us. You have to look at us. So if we feel that our plate is too full, and I'm saying this because I have a special needs child and all the other kids and a husband. So if my plate is too full, I have to recognize my plate is too full.
Exactly.
That means if I have to get somebody to come in and clean my house because I ain't got enough time to do it,
Veronica.
then I gotta go pay.
Come on.
So you can take some of that off your plate.
But you know what? We feel guilty.
You do.
You feel guilty, and we allow other people to feel guilty because what? You a black
can't
woman,
handle it?
and you got somebody else cleaning your
your
house.
Or raising your children.
Yeah, you got them.
You
Or
know,
raising your
you
kids,
what you need a nanny for? Okay, but Becky can have a nanny, a gardener,
A masseuse,
a masseuse.
the hairstylist,
You know
all
what
come
I'm
to the
saying?
house.
You know, and
Not a bad thing.
she don't even work.
And she's still stressed.
So I think that we take on that instead of saying, you know what, this is it. I can't do it. I can do A, B, and C, but if E, F, G don't get done, it's just not gonna get done. Or you or somebody else better take up the slack, or it's not gonna get done.
Right.
Once we stand up, we have to own our own. Because you know, at the end of the day, who is going to look out for us? Us. Only us. So at the end of the day, you know, you're taking medicine for depression or anxiety or or whatever, because your health is diminishing and because you got so much stress. When we get stressed, our edges come out. I mean, we our hair starts thinning.
We eat,
gain weight. All of this because of these stressors that we have to just get to a point to say, you know what? I'm not doing it. I am not. If you don't take care of you holistically, mentally, physically, if you do not spiritually, if you don't take care of you, people will run you in the ground.
And that's when self-care is comes into play. And I think again, that's when with Black women we have pretended for so many years, okay, we're super women.
Yes.
Because we had to do this. But again, it's not like you're superwoman anymore. It gets to a point to where when you're letting your health fail, it's like you are a stupid woman. You are a woman. You're like, I'm not putting him on child support because, if he wants to take care of his kids, I'll let him. That's not really being a superwoman. That's been a stupid woman.
That's not even smart for the children.
And it's not smart. And it's like you're 50 years old. You have hypertension, or you even just die. And it's just like, who are gonna take care of those kids that you didn't even want someone even assisting you with?
Well, I'm a piggyback on that because I do agree. But what I have been taught, and I'm 44 years old, is that over the years, women have had to be strong for so long that they feel that they have to be that way even now. And that's the reason why I feel that we put on so many hats, is because our men, the expectation that our men put on us too, like I'm married. So I've been married for 10 years. So the expectation that the men put on you as well is the expectations that would have been put on a woman in the 70s. But we're not in the 70s. We're in the 21st century. So guess what? The things that the woman did in the 70s, she didn't work. Only thing she had to do was take care of the household while the man brought home the bacon. Well, now I have to work. I have to cook. I have to take care of the kids. I have to go to school. I'm doing all these things to try to better our life. And yet, only thing you want to complain is, where's your meal? Well, we have a lot of hats, and that's the reason why we end up stressing and end up having heart disease and having to take all this medication, is because we don't have the help. Because the mindset of a man is the mindset of a man that was back in the 70s and 80s, where the woman had to take on the responsibility of the household.
I have to say, that's still on us, because you know what? These new millennial women, we are all 30 plus.
Right.
These new millennial women,
They ain't doing
it
At all.
at all. And they gonna go in letting you know, I ain't doing it. But you know what? We still want to play superwoman. And guess what? Those new millennials, they taking these men. They're getting the men, these distinguished or these 30 plus men, which means that it's not that their standards are so high across the board.
But they take them temporary.
They
take them temporary.
And that's
because the men our age really and truly want somebody that's going to be in the kitchen cooking and cleaning. They take them temporary only because maybe the body or something like that, because maybe the woman that they with have just been so stressed out that they just lost self. So when you lose self, guess what? You start to dress any kind of way. You start looking like you hell. Ain't your mama? That's important to still keep yourself up. Even when you're married. What Beyonce said in her song, what you need me to do? I keep myself up. I make sure I look good. We as older women, we still have to do the same thing, because you're right. These younger women, they coming in, their bodies are better, because guess what? We're older, so their bodies are better. So they think that's... So they think that's what they want at the time, but when you get there, men always think the grass is green on the other side.
We know a couple of men that are in their 40s plus that have married. I know at least 3 that have married younger women.
Well, you have to look at it too. It depends on the situation. Some men marry for easy, because their first wife is all about discipline. Like, you're young, you're starting out, you're getting all of this. you're getting the money, you're getting the houses, you're having the kids.
Right, you're building together.
You're building together. So to a man, that may seem like it's not fun.
Exactly.
So,
that's the hard
so
part.
So the second wife, it's easy to get a trophy.
Yeah.
She might look a little better.
Yeah.
Most of the time, she's like dumber. I'm seriously.
Not
They
all
feel
the
like
way
they're in
together.
control.
But you know what?
They don't want that.
I agree.
They don't
That's
want
the
that.
fantasy.
Exactly.
Men want the fantasy.
Exactly.
They
They're
don't
visual.
want. They don't. They run from the house. Well, they don't want to talk about bills. They don't want to talk about what the
They
kid
just wanna do
did.
the fun stuff.
They want the fantasy, so
Yeah.
they will leave. They will leave the house and go to the fantasy, not realizing that fantasy's in. Fantasy's in.
And
They're not real.
Yep.
They're not real. So that's
the
why.
fantasy
Not
wants
really.
that. The fantasy wants what you're running from.
True.
The
True.
side piece wants to be a wife.
Side
She
piece is
wants
being
to have-
glorified.
She just wants the holiday. She just don't want to cook the meal.
Side pieces are being glorified. I'm sorry to tell you.
They
but
are.
They are being glorified. Like they are.
Well, so are
just the
strippers.
shit.
Like that is the correct profession. I mean, doesn't make it right though.
But in the end, is that really and truly what you want? When you become 60 and 70 years old, that side piece that you thought you wanted, and then that stripper you thought you wanted, those women are not going to be women that are going to be there for you in the end.
But prior to 40, a man is not thinking about that. I had a conversation just this morning. I
A
said,
man don't think much at all. Let's just be clear.
Right.
I'm not going to say that because
some
we don't have
men, though, that
men
really-
to defend themselves.
Yes.
But I have to say that the average man in his 20s, he is just running.
Most of them are thinking about what's directly
That's-
in front of them.
That's their season. They're not thinking about really. And I'm saying this because I was thinking about my son who got married at 19. You don't even know what you like yourself.
Right.
So I'm saying in your 20s, you just doing the most. In your 30s, then you like, wait a minute.
Is that what Mama was saying?
You know,
that what I should have been
now
doing?
you starting to pick the pieces together. Okay, so if I really want a woman, a good woman, okay, maybe I need to do this. They're starting to put it together in their 30s. So I say really, the average man is not even remotely ready to settle down into a stable relationship until 40 plus.
I think it depends on the man.
Okay.
I'm not saying that
That's
it's
a little
every
bit
single, but I'm saying I'm generalizing based on the different seasons of life. We all have different seasons of life. You have your first decade, the second decade, and when I think of what's most likely the season that a man would be most likely ready to sit down. I don't know what.
I just think that it's whatever God puts on them.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank.
Yeah.
Because some men are ready in their 40s. Some men are ready in their 50s. Some are not ready till their 60s. I see 50-year-olds in the clubs. But hey, to each his own. But my whole thing is this. A lot of times men should not get married until God has really spoken to them, until you really feel deep down inside that you are ready to settle down. Because if you're not going to get married and be 100% with your mate, then you don't need to get married. You need to continue to stay single, and that's it. There's nothing else to that. Because nowadays in society, like we say, you got your side pieces. Side pieces wouldn't exist if it wasn't for married men not really and truly being ready to be married out there whoremongering. So, excuse me, my French face, but you out there whoring around. That's what side pieces come in at.
I know 70-year-olds.
Yeah, so that's where side pieces exist. But if you're not ready to be married, then you shouldn't ask a woman to marry you if you're not ready.
I mean, that's true, but I think I don't know. Yeah, that is true.
People get married for different reasons.
Yeah, people do get married. I will have to agree.
know.
Some men, I know men who marry women just so that woman won't get away.
I
You
agree
know,
with you.
Yeah,
and,
just
you
to
know,
hold her
and
down.
that's not really ready because he's ready to be married. It's just because that's like selfish. He's just marrying
He
her
doesn't
because
want to lose her.
yeah, he doesn't want
Right.
yeah,
doesn't want
right.
anyone else to have her. Doesn't want her to truly be
Yeah,
happy.
so I think it just depends.
Right.
You know,
I
you have
agree.
some people who are young and they get pregnant at an early age and then they get married. You know, we all know that's a disaster. I mean, because
divorce.
like you don't even know who you want to be And that's really sad. I mean, because you don't even know who you want to be as a person. And then you're like somebody's mom or dad and somebody else's wife or husband.
Right.
You know,
But in our belief system, that's how we're raised. Like if, you get pregnant, you get married. So that's part of our belief system. That's part of what we've been taught. Like, well, the right thing to do is to marry him. Y'all have a baby, such and such. And especially at a young age, like you're saying, we don't know who we are. But our parents ain't saying that really to us. Like, you don't know who you are, Renee, at least until you're 30. They say you need to marry that boy because you're pregnant again and y'all need to get married.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think it's different with cultures too. Each culture is different.
Yeah,
I think with the black community it's different than other, cultures as well too.
The black community has changed though. The black culture is not what it used to be. Our standards, the structure that we had,
It's not there.
it's not there anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not.
And so now we're wondering why little JoJo act the way he do, because there is not that structure that we have. And people really, I want to believe that people really desire deep down inside to have that structure.
I agree because I'm gonna tell you now. To me, I don't think people really value family, like you say, the morals and values and stuff that we had back in the day. Because first of all, a lot of people are not putting God first in the household.
That's
and when you're not putting God first in the household, it's a ripple effect. Period. Point blank. Because the man is designed to lead, but a lot of times in this day and age, you have so many women that are in a position of power, and I'm gonna say that because you have so many women that we want more out of life, and because the men are supposed to lead, some men are intimidated by a woman that's in a position of power, and they think that it makes them less of a man, but it's not. It's not designed to make you less of a man just because your wife or your girlfriend want more out of life and she wants to make six figures. You can still lead and be the man. Only thing you have to do is be the alpha male, and you just need to be the man of God that he wants you to be, and you can still lead your family. You can learn from that woman that makes six figures, not be intimidated by her, because the thing is, if you first of all have God in your life as number one, as your head, then everything else will fall in the line, period.
But you have to admit, the black family don't have God in it.
And a lot of them don't have men in the household.
Right.
Not alpha men. You can have a man, but
man
you're not, just because you're a male
yeah.
doesn't make you a man.
But like, it's like if you do have a woman who makes six figures and the man does not make six figures, I don't feel like it's that woman's job to make that man feel comfortable, with the fact that his wife makes more money than he does. I mean, like, that goes a little bit deeper. It is not my fault because your mom didn't give you enough hugs when you were little. And, it's just like, and I think a lot of black women, we have to deal with that too. Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to that coddling and pacifying and have to dummy down a conversation as opposed to be able to come frank and direct.
Same thing with black women. They want to say that, oh, we don't trust easy or this is a problem. Well, I think I heard some preacher or someone speaking this at church on one Sunday, and he was talking about headship of a household and different things. It's like, men, how do you expect for her to just give you your all and just really 100% trust you? In most black households, she have watched her mom be the mom and the dad. So how is she supposed to just trust you and think, oh, you're gonna play this role all the way through when she didn't even have a dad?
Well, I think you can do it, but I think that you have to see it in that man.
Right.
So, for a long time I was a single parent, and if I see it in you, because I had a dad in the house, and I know what it looks like for him to work and to provide, and my mom stayed at home. If I see that in you, I'll give it to you because I don't want to have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if I don't see it in you, if you don't see it in yourself, then no, I'm not going to easily just turn over the reins to you because you're the
But you'll be surprised how many men want you to do. Exactly.
But you have to see that in yourself, though.
But should you not see that before marriage?
Yes.
You should. We're not going to get married and then I'm going to decide, you know what? I don't trust you.
But you'll be surprised
to handle.
How many women do it? Because so many women are so infatuated with the wedding,
the marriage. Agreed.
Well, I don't think though that when you walk down, I'm thinking back to my wedding, it's so wonderful. When you walk down, You know, the dress is beautiful and you look all nice. When you're walking down the aisle, you hear the vows for better, worse, richer, poor, blah, 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 blah. But you don't understand what it means. Until you start to
think about it.
You don't really think about it. You just say the words, let's kids go on
Again,
honeymoon.
so you are infatuated with the wedding versus the marriage. Because when I was growing up, I remember my childhood pastor would not even marry you if you didn't even do 6 months of counseling.
Right, but they don't do that anymore.
They don't do that. So it's like, how do you not think about things like that? Like, I mean,
No, but you don't think about. I'll say this: being married, I've only been married going on 3 years. There are things that I thought I was ready to be a wife. 'Cause I'm a good woman. You know, I'm a good woman. I'm faithful. I can do this. I can do that. I can multitask. I'm a professional. Blah blah blah. I can break that down. Take the degrees off the wall. I can do all of that stuff. But you don't really understand what it takes to be a wife until you really get into the role of being a wife.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Because there are times when I need to say something, I need to be direct. There are times when I need to say something, I do need to kind of stroke his ego just a little bit, okay? There are times when the Lord says, Rita, shut your mouth. You don't need to say that. But you don't realize that until you're in the marriage. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that women do justice with women. Men,
Don't tell you the truth.
come on, they don't tell you the truth. You know,
Like,
and
no,
then
you don't.
and then when I
What
get
it
into
is.
it, I'm like, what the? They didn't tell me I gotta do that. I see why he was over there drinking and he was looking like death was coming. Him and his boys.
Right.
Because they told him the truth.
Yes.
Say, dude,
You
she
gonna
might
make it?
change up on you. She ain't gonna give you none. She gonna and have him thinking, oh Lord, oh, what am I getting myself into?
prepared.
But as women, we think it's gonna be.
We're like,
you
I'm
know,
so happy for you.
baby, shoot. Okay, he smoked a little bit, but you know that's gonna change in 3 months.
he wants to smoke once the baby's born.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
Right.
and we have these, we have this whole image of what marriage. And I remember saying when I got married, I remember saying after the fact, when I got divorced, I said I wish that there was a Jesuit that ran down the aisle with that scroll.
You know you're going to do this?
Okay, so because see, but to
Yes.
be honest, if you know us, we are all women of faith. So I can say, with us, God did give us the warning. He said, "Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna give you a partner. I'm gonna give you a partner because life is hard. I'm gonna give you a partner, but let me let you know, when I give you a partner, the enemy is going to attack y'all.
Yes.
Now, with that, it's gonna be some good days. It's gonna be some bad days. Somebody might get sick. Somebody might lose their job. Okay, you ready? You still want to go in it? You still want to go in it? Okay. So that means, you know, rich or poor. Y'all might have money. Y'all might not. Okay, people gonna be up on your business. It may be his mama, and you know she can't stand you.
Right.
You want to go a little bit deeper?
Those mamas.
And I mean, just being honest, I don't even think God said, like, when I got married, I'm just going to be honest and say, I don't think God said that was your husband.
Okay, and that's true. But I'm saying,
You know, I'm just being honest. I don't think God said, have those kids.
well, you know, obedience is better than sacrifice.
All about choices.
Yeah, we
You
have,
made
but
that choice.
we make
You gotta live with it.
but come on, 80% of marriages are not.
Biblically.
That ain't what God told us to do. You know, to be
Not
honest.
biblical.
But once,
Yeah.
but once we in it, He says, okay, this is
Gotta
what
make
it
it
is.
work.
Like, right. Do you
Right.
think
This
it's
is what it is.
possible to make it work?
Oh yes,
Yeah, it can be done.
exactly. But you have to understand going in. This is what this is, and I think that we don't. What is for better or worse really mean? I know so many women. He lose his job, and it's
I'm outta
like,
here.
I'm
what?
done.
What?
On to the next man. But
what?
that's not what you're supposed to do.
But that's not what the word says.
That's it.
So when it comes down to being a virtuous woman, okay, he that find a virtuous wife.
Find a good thing.
Huh? What?
A
Her
good
values is far above Ruby's.
Yes,
okay,
indeed.
so what is she? She was an entrepreneur. She had a vineyard.
She did.
Okay, she sold her stuff from afar, merchants from afar. Okay, she got up early
and took care of her
anybody
before
else. Yep.
anybody else and
Yeah.
took care of hers. It didn't say nothing about what the man did. You know what? It actually said that he got his clout
From his
from
wife.
who she was.
But
They were saying
the man
that's
to do that.
that's
You can't be
Mr.
an insecure man and think that you finna have
Okay,
a
but
virtuous
see,
wife.
that's when you have God in your household.
But
Okay,
most
see,
people,
that's the
most
key.
people,
That's
I
the difference.
think this is the problem. We're not consulting God when we're
There you
selecting
go.
our
That's
mates.
it.
I mean, just being honest, like, I didn't tell you to do that.
I didn't tell you to do it
And
in
then
the
you
first
want to
place.
just, like, take this, like, the vows, like, what God joined together. Let no man tear it apart. First of all, I didn't even join this together, so how you gonna put this on me? But then you want me to clean up out the aftermath. Like, so me, that was a big thing for me. Like, I had to take accountability. Because, and be honest, you know what? God did not put this man here for you. God did not tell you to have these kids. And you know, I think that's one thing that actually keeps me going. I don't think that God is trying to punish me either. And I think that he does want that person to hold up his end of the bargain. But it helps me move along, you know, with like, this is where disobedience gets you.
Yes.
To,
That's
you know, and that's how I raise my kids too. Like, I have to be honest. Like,
You have to make the right choice.
you have to take
You do.
accountability,
You really
and this
do.
is what happens. Like, as a parent, even with our kids, if you mess up, you know, as a parent, we love you. Most of the time, we're always gonna bail you out, but you still have to go through the motion. You know, like depending on what that child does. You know, if it's like a mess up, if you're not studying and you get a bad grade, you still have to go through the motion of getting help, getting tutoring to learn this information to move to the next level in life. Like, you still got to do it. Like, I will help you, but at the same time, it's not easy. And I mean, just like being honest, it's much easier when we do what he wants us to do.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why in some of my prayers, I have to just honestly say, you know what, God, forget what I have planned. I want to do what you want me to do, even if it's not what I want to do, because I'm tired of like repeating these lessons.
Yes.
You know, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm tired of like going in the same circle, like getting the same answer. And I know it, but like, just guide me, God, because like, I'm clearly like, you know, I just want to do better. You know, it's just the simple things
But
that,
do
you know.
you think that sometimes, or a lot of times, God is directing us, he's leading us, and we're so clouded by our flesh and what we want to do that we don't follow the leading of the Spirit. And I say that because I know a lot of angry men and women, and that's the reason why I got into psychology, because there were so many broken people.
Right.
So many broken people. And I'm like, well, Lord, how do we fix these broken people? And I realized that it's because how we're living, how we are hearing God or not hearing God. What really worked for me is when God told me, my no's are really yeses. My no's are really yeses. So that relationship that you wanted, if you was, oh, you the one, Lord, you the one, please, you know. Well, a year later, he married someone else and he was whooping her butt. You know, so I told you no. And you thought I was telling you no because I didn't want you to be happy or whatever, or I'm just being God and I just said no for whatever reason. But no, my no's are really yeses. The job that I just really, really wanted, and I was praying for, and this is the perfect job because it's geographically where I wanted it and all of this. It was the perfect job. I thought. I didn't get it. They gave it to somebody less qualified. I thought. A year later, that company was going bankrupt, and that person that they gave it to was then on the market again looking for another job.
Right.
But then God gave me a job that it was perfectly designed for me. I didn't even ask for it. It was perfectly designed for me. So his no's are really yeses. And so I'm learning to, when all of those no's come, regardless on what those no's look like, I have to learn how to be okay when God says no, and when he is silent. When I learn to be still when he's silent, and I learn to accept his will when he says no. It's the serenity prayer. Lord, help me to accept the things that I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Yeah, and it's just like that's certain things in your life. That's when your faith really has to kick in. And like we know that like good things come to those who wait. But we all know that it's a challenge when you're waiting as well. Yeah. You know, you have to enjoy the ride. you know, along the way. Because, like, even with my family, everybody's like, okay, so why are you still single? And I'm like, well, I'm single by choice.
But don't you get
Because
tired of
you
hearing
learn.
that?
Yeah,
Don't you get tired of
learn,
hearing
though,
why you
from-
still single?
Yeah. Like,
Well, maybe because I just don't want to get into anything.
right. Like, I was talking to a friend, and she was like, yeah, I was talking to this guy for like 6 months, and, you know, it turned out to be nothing, and she was like kind of angry about it. And I was like, girl, be happy.
Be happy.
Like, are you not like glad that God showed you in 6 months and 6 years?
Yes.
I mean, like,
That's
or 26 years, like, that's a blessing. And I like, and that's when you really know when you're like at peace in your situation, and like
That's
things
it.
like that bring me joy, because it's like I'm really at peace in the process.
Yeah.
You know, and like my grandmother's always asking me, so when are you gonna do this? And like, when are you gonna meet your husband? I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe in the carpool line.
You never know.
You never know.
Well,
you know, like.
I'm gonna say this. I think that, like you said, you're single by choice, because now you have options. You've learned from the first marriage that you were in to not make those same mistakes. So it may not necessarily always be where, you know, you meet a guy, whatever, you like your friend in a relationship for 6 months. But when God sends you that person, it's going to feel right. It is
Yeah.
going to feel
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's going to have everything that you ever needed. Like the chivalry. Like right now, I think that chivalry is dead. But when you do finally meet that one, all those things are going to be alive and well. And you're going to be able to see that, okay, it's going to be in your spirit, in your heart, that this is, oh my God, everything is so right. And then you're going to really start to question yourself, like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Everything is too right.
Perfect.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
too right.
But to be, I'm
So-
gonna move because it's a little uncomfortable.
But I'm gonna say this.
She's not
I'm gonna tell you about, for me, for marriage. I've been married for 10 years. My husband and I, we have our ups and downs. So I have to make the decision on whether or not, am I gonna stay in this thing to the end, or am I gonna walk away? Because it is so easy to walk away, and to me right now, society has made it so easy for woman
people
or
to
man
walk away.
walk away
Yeah.
from a marriage. And that's not what God said in his word. He did say, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health. So during those times where you walk away, let it be a valid reason. Sometimes just because a person and he gives you an option, you can walk away for adultery. If your husband cheat on you, I know so many women that really and truly do walk away because their husband cheat or whatever the case may be. But that's not saying that it's the end because they cheat. You take it to God, and then you pray about it. If you choose to give that man another option, allow that man to show you something totally different, and then you move on. But it has to be better.
Yeah,
Not
for
the
sure.
same
Right.
from when he initially started
For sure.
cheating. But don't put other people into it and allow people to influence you to make your decision on whether or not you should leave your husband or whatever the case may be.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's-
God says to seek godly counsel.
That's
anyway.
right.
You're
All
not
I'm saying
supposed
is
to.
you work your marriage out, and marriage is designed to be able to grow and build. And that's it, not to just easily walk away from it, because
And
so
you
many
know
people
when you've
easily
had
walk
enough.
away.
Yeah,
That's it.
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And my thing on that is just to properly forgive. As a person, you have to forgive yourself for what happened.
That's it.
And the person who did whatever they did, they have to forgive themselves as well. Because you can't ask another person to forgive you for something that you haven't forgiven yourself
Self
from.
from.
That's it.
And I think that's important too. Like, we want to be forgiven for things that we've done, but it's like, how do we forgive? You know, how do you expect for her to forgive you when you haven't even forgiven yourself?
That's it. But that's
You
the
know,
hardest.
so yeah.
But you know, kind of looping back, I want to play the advocate because a lot of men say that women are too picky.
Wrap it up.
So, with that being said, do you really think that we are really too picky?
No. A woman should have standards. Whatever your standards, your standards are your standards. You know, just companies have policies and standards, procedures. And I think a woman is,
Men respect
yeah,
standards.
your standards should be your standards. If your standards is, I don't care how small it is, how big it is, everybody should have their standards. You know, and if he feels like he wants to go over here where it's easier, that's fine. You know, he doesn't meet your standards. So, I mean, hey, let him go now anyway. Like, you have some people who are no longer married and they get married for the second time. You know, you notice things are different. You know, because 9 times out of 10, her standards are a little lower than your standards. You know, so, and that's fine. Be happy with that. I don't think any woman should change. And another thing with black women too, I think we should start like exploring all other options. Because there are like, what, 40% of African American men locked up in jail, incarcerated. So, I mean, like, it's statistically proven that 52% of black women would never be married. So, if that means that you need to step outside of your race and be like, oh, I love this, I mean, like, hey, you know, that's something that you need to, yeah, take into
God didn't design it
consideration.
for you to just have one certain race. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you have to marry
A
somebody.
lot of black women
It
don't
could be
have
Asian,
choices.
Caucasian, whatever you feel like you want to marry.
Yes.
Just African, whatever. Whoever loves you and treats you right is who you need to marry.
Yeah.
Point blank.
And a lot of black women, they really don't have choices. You know, I mean, just being honest about it. They really don't. There's what, like 10 to 12 black women to what, a successful black man? And I think that's another reason why black men act the way they act, because it's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
They're a commodity.
Yeah,
agree.
they know that.
I agree.
You know,
They're a
they know that they're a
hot
hot commodity and they know that they can do this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up. It's been fun. We've had some good dialogue. I enjoyed you women.
Hopefully
We always have good dialogue when we get together. Thought provoking. I hope that it was thought provoking for you guys as well. I see that we have a lot of men in the house. Thank you for logging in. Eric, Damon, Ivan, Albert, Brian, Eric. Hey. Hopefully next time we'll have more of a men perspective in the panel. Today we know that it is football day, but next time we'll have some more versatility. But until next time, thank you for joining in to Couch Time, and you guys have a wonderful Sunday. Bye.